It's 1:34 a.m. You're holding your phone, scrolling through social media. People spending the winter on summer vacations somewhere else in the world. People eating in luxury restaurants. People showing off their new cars. People showing off not just a house, but a mansion. People partying in nightclubs. Then you put your phone down and listen to your own thoughts. How the hell do these people have so much money? Is everyone rich except me? How are they living like this while you wake up every morning carrying a list of worries? Your car might not start tomorrow. Your laptop might die. Your boss might send some stupid email. Your cat might suddenly need the vet. Your credit card is already close to maxed out. The rent is already gone. None of these things are guaranteed to happen today, but knowing that any of them could happen is exhausting. Sometimes you don't feel poor just because your account only has $214 in it. You feel poor because you don't know what's going to blow up tomorrow. Like everyone else, you think about the big numbers. $100,000, $1 million, financial freedom, early retirement, passive income. But the number that changes your life for the first time is usually not one of those. For a normal person, the first real turning point, the first real breathing room, the first real psychological foundation is $10,000. That's why this video matters, because we're not going to talk about wealth. We're not going to talk about Ferraris. We're not going to talk about luxury. We're going to talk about something much more basic: security. We're going to look at the 6 levels a life goes through before it reaches the point where you can finally say, whatever happens tomorrow morning, I'm not going to fall apart. Is the money in your account just a number sitting there? Or is it something that gives you sleep, breathing room, and decision-making power? At this point, I need your support. Like the video and subscribe. If you've made the 2 clicks, let's begin. Level 1. The money is gone before it even arrives. Your paycheck comes in on Friday. By Saturday morning, the account is almost empty again. The rent clears. The credit card minimum gets paid. The phone bill hits. 2 subscriptions quietly charge your account. You go to the grocery store. You put a little gas in the tank. And the same movie plays again. The money comes in. The money gets scattered. The money disappears. At this level, the problem is not always that you're reckless. Sometimes the problem is this: the baseline cost of life moves faster than your paycheck. The danger here is not some huge financial catastrophe. It's the opposite. A $380 repair, a $240 dental bill, a $120 prescription, a $90 vet visit. The kind of thing that isn't dramatic enough to make the news, but still pushes you right back onto the card. At this level, money is not a tool. It acts more like a shock absorber. And the biggest thing you lose is not money. It's your ability to choose. A friend says, let's go out tonight. You can't say, I don't have the money. So you say, I'm kind of busy tonight. Because the problem isn't just paying for something. The biggest mistake you can make at this level is this: expecting some giant solution. A higher salary, a better job, a bigger leap. But most of the time, this level is not broken with a giant leap. One day, Milo opens a new account. He puts $50 into it. The number looks almost ridiculous, but something much bigger happens psychologically. For the first time, not all of the money disappears in the same week. And that is exactly where this level starts to break. Level 2. The first money doesn't grow. It stays. $50. A week later, it's still there. Then another $50 comes in. Then $30. Then nothing for 2 weeks. Because life gets in the way again. At this level, savings do not rise in a straight line. They move in a zigzag. 1 month it reaches $160. Then it drops to $90. Then it climbs to $210. Then it falls back again. But this small-looking process does something huge on the inside. For the first time, you feel this: my money can actually stay with me. That sentence is worth more than the first $100 itself. Because before this, every dollar either got spent or went toward debt. For the first time, a small amount of money just sits there. The biggest risk at this level is still the same: an unexpected expense. But now, for the first time, there are actually 2 choices in the game: the card or the buffer. The mistake at this level is this: underestimating small savings. It's not enough anyway. What's this really going to do? It won't change anything. That's wrong. The job of your first $100 is not to save you. Its job is to begin a new identity. What unlocks this level is not a bigger income, it's repetition. After every paycheck. Again. Even if it's small. Without arguing. Without overthinking. Without negotiating with yourself. After a while, $100 stops being just $100. It turns into this. I'm someone who can hold on to money. But the real scene still hasn't fully arrived. Because the game changes when the number hits 4 digits for the first time. Level 3. The first $1,000 is not money. It's proof. One morning, Milo sees $1,000 in the account. Then he looks again. Not because it's enough. Because he needs to make sure it's real. Your first $1,000 is not wealth. It's not comfort. It's definitely not freedom. But it is something very important. Proof. Proof that you do not have to fall back to zero every single month. At this level, life is still fragile. An emergency still shows up. It always does. The car battery dies. A tire goes flat. The laptop needs repairs. A random health bill appears. And this is where the first real psychological fight begins. The card or the savings? Milo pulls from savings once. He hates it. He even feels a little guilty. That feeling is not bad. In fact, it's useful. Because it tells you something important. There was a time when having no money in the account felt normal. Now, seeing that money go down feels strange. That means your identity has shifted. The mistake you make at this level is giving up just because the system got interrupted once. So it failed again. It doesn't last anyway. This is pointless. No, the exact opposite. This level teaches you this. If the buffer can be rebuilt after it gets hit, the system has already been born. Another $50. Then another $80. 1 month a little more. 1 month a little less. And the number starts climbing again. Your first $1,000 does not give you an easy life, but it gives you something far more important. The first physical proof that you can recover. Even then, $1,000 doesn't bring peace. It just builds a thin wall between panic and collapse. A thicker wall takes more savings. Level 4. Money slows panic down for the first time. Milo opens a high-yield savings account. It's not some sophisticated move. He just read something and thought, if it's going to sit there, it might as well do something. Months pass. One morning, the balance says $4,200. Then a little interest shows up. $16. It's not a lot of money. But he still takes a screenshot. Because the amount is not what matters. The message is. For the first time, the money isn't just sitting there. It's starting to produce something. And this is where the real change happens. Not in the number, but in the reaction. A $400 repair no longer feels like a disaster. A $220 tire no longer forces you to open the card again. An unexpected expense is annoying, but it doesn't paralyze you. That might sound small, but it changes every part of life. When panic goes down, you sleep better. You think more clearly. You get pushed around less at work. You say no to stupid spending more easily. You stop being impressed by other people's money theater. The mistake at this level is extremely familiar. As income goes up, you grow the lifestyle instead of growing the savings. A raise of $300 or $400 shows up, and the system immediately whispers in your ear, upgrade the car a little. Fix up the house a little. You don't have to be this strict. And that is exactly where this level gets lost. Most people don't fall back because of one huge explosion. They fall back because of slowly rising standards. What unlocks the next level is this: automatically moving extra income into savings before new spending has a chance to begin. Milo does it without thinking, because if he thinks, he negotiates. If he negotiates, spending wins. At this level, money reduces fear, but it still doesn't hold you upright yet. Level 5. Money stops being an emergency and starts becoming a tool. At some point, the accounts split apart. Emergency fund, cash reserves, retirement account, investment account. Milo is no longer looking at one single bucket of money. Now there are different soldiers with different jobs. $9,600 sits on the side, untouched. The investment account holds funds, slow, boring, but consistent. The biggest change at this level is not the number, it's the relationship. Money is no longer something you stare at thinking, please don't go down. Now it becomes this question: where do I put this so it can buy me time later? That is the real break. In a job interview, the offer comes in low. The old Milo would have accepted. Now he stands up and walks away. Because the money in his account doesn't pay him a salary, but it also doesn't force him into a bad deal. Overtime becomes available. The old version of him would have said yes automatically. Now he stops and thinks. Because for the first time has a competitor, growing capital. The mistake at this level is complacency. You start to feel a little better, and suddenly you think you've figured the whole thing out. You build it once. It breaks. You build it again. And somewhere in that process, you gain something that doesn't show up on a statement, but changes real life. Confidence. Level 6, $10,000 doesn't buy things. It buys decision space. $10,000. On a screen, it might not look that big. It doesn't buy a Ferrari. It doesn't let you quit your job. It doesn't make you rich. But it changes something. Your anxiety. Before, your head was full of disaster scenarios. Now, those same disasters don't disappear from the world, but their volume gets turned down. Because what $10,000 really does is not give you spending power. It lowers your panic threshold. The car breaks down. It's annoying. A job change comes up. It's scary, but it doesn't freeze you. The idea of moving appears. It no longer feels impossible. You don't calculate every dinner invitation down to the dollar. You don't feel like every grocery decision is a survival test. At this level, money buys something invisible for the first time. Mental bandwidth. You sleep better. You get irritated less easily. You negotiate more clearly. You walk into job interviews standing straighter. Because now, if you say no, you're not going to die. And that is the real effect. Unused money creates usable courage. The mistake at this level is this: thinking $10,000 is the finish line. No, this is not the finish. This is the beginning. The real shift is this: you stop acting like someone who saves money. You start seeing yourself as that person. And after that, the game changes. Before, there were no options. Now, there are options. And that means character enters the picture. Are you going to upgrade the house? Upgrade the car? Or turn this buffer into a machine that buys you time and backbone? That is the real question of money. $10,000 does not make you rich, but it can stop you from being someone who is always one hit away from falling apart. Sometimes the first real wealth is not big wealth. It is the power to stay standing even when tomorrow morning hits you. Somewhere right now, someone is opening a new account. They put $50 into it. Then they check it 3 times to make sure it didn't disappear. It didn't. And right now, that person thinks it's just a little bit of money. It isn't. It's the first record of a different identity. Because financial security does not arrive all at once. It does not drop from the sky overnight. And it does not get solved with one raise. First, a small gap opens up inside zero. Then that gap becomes a buffer. Then the buffer creates decision-making power. Then decision-making power changes character. And one day, a person realizes this. Money is no longer the fear you carry into every decision. It becomes the quiet force standing behind some of those decisions. That's what the first $10,000 really does. Maybe it doesn't make you free, but it opens the first real room of freedom. And now the real question is this: which one of these 6 levels are you on right now?